Yeah. Okay, hero ya tayo tingnan.
May I request the members of the audience to kindly take your seats? Honorable Justice Deshpande, Honorable Justice Menezes, uh, Learned Advocate General of the State of Goa, Advocate Hon'ble, Senior Advocate Mr. Koil Pereira, President Goa High Court Bar Association, Senior Advocates, other members of the association and members of the bar, and the members of legal fraternity. On behalf of the Goa High Court Bar Association, I extend a very warm welcome to one and all. We are gathered today to kickstart a quarter with a topic which is highly relevant. As we all know, technology has transformed life in every sphere, and the one aspect that we are concerned with today as we meet is the infrastructure in judiciary. Because there has been a huge upgradation of infrastructure. And if I have to just quote a line from a very famous book by Yuval Harari, when he speaks of 21 lessons of the 21st century, and he says, you upgrade, upskill, or you leave your left behind. So in that pursuit, and in keeping with the vision of the Honorable Chief Justice of India, there have been wholesome changes which have been made in the manner in which the entire administration operates, and all of that has eventually led into a better justice dispensation system. Obviously, it's work in progress, and but to a great extent, we've already seen that massive change or the entire profession and justice delivery system metamorphosed into a even more efficient system with a better infrastructure. The whole endeavor is to just take things forward and keep pace with what is the infrastructure at in highly developed countries where they have a very robust judicial system. So, in keeping with that, we thought we'll start the quarter and the first seminar of after the new committee is taken over with this topic, which is extremely relevant as we move forward. And we are, since we're slightly constrained for times, we are without any further ado, may I just request uh, Advocate Siddhi to kindly welcome Honorable Justice Deshpande with a bouquet of flowers. May I also request Advocate Sarvesh Sawant to present a vase to Advocate to Honorable Justice Menezes. And we will reserve the last one for the leader. So without any further ado, before we start the day's proceedings and get to the business end of why we have gathered here today, uh, Mr. Koil Pereira, the President of Goa High Court Bar Association, would like to address the gathering for a brief while.
Deshpande, Honorable Justice Menezes, my senior and junior colleagues at the bar. Today's function, as Shivan has said, is the first function which the new committee of this association has organized. It assumes relevance as a function to herald a bouquet of activities which the new committee proposes to do. I welcome today's speaker, Mr. Justice Menezes, and thank him for having agreed to be the catalyst for the start of our activities. It is appropriate for me to mention at this stage what the association proposes to do for the members. As you witnessed in the last triennium, the committee had a divided set of activities. Activities which contributed to the knowledge store of the lawyers by holding regular lectures on a monthly basis for the members of the bar and law students, as well as some training programs and sport activities. Besides taking up issues concerning the fraternity, such as the issue of the Bar Council and a resolution for a separate High Court, and the updating of the library to a state of art, the library of the High Court has to do. I must announce that added to the committees to carry out its mandate for the triennium, the committee has for this triennium decided to have an IT committee headed by Senior Advocate Nitin Sardesai, and as members, young members of the bar who take interest in IT related works, and a woman and also a women's cell which would function independently and take up causes of women advocates. The cell is headed by Senior Advocate Norma Alves, who unfortunately I'm told met with an accident while coming to the function, and who had been kind enough to accept the task of organizing and taking up issues of the sisters at the bar. The creation of the cell was found imperative because under the amendment to of the constitution, which we could have only one representative at the bar, which perhaps would not be in a position to voice the concern of all sisters. It is imperative for me to mention that as a starting point of our activities, we took up and requested Justice Menezes to address us on the digitization of courts because we felt that it is the need of the hour. And he being in charge of the IT committee of the High Court for Goa, he would enlighten us and help us with issues which the members of the bar are confronted with. We requested Mr. Menezes to help us have a follow-up of what he would enlighten us about. We are going to have a workshop from trained people to demonstrate to you all and address to the issues which most of us are facing while doing the filing of matters. That workshop is scheduled for the 11th. We thank Mr. Justice Menezes for his cooperation in that regard. Though the implementation of the project for national e-governance began in the Indian judiciary from the year 2007, yet it is not complete. Though phase 2 started in 2015, it did not reach the subordinate courts. For example, most of the subordinate courts in the state, I am told, are not using hybrid facilities, which in fact is a hamper on the implementation of the project. For example, if they were hybrid in use, most of the miscellaneous matters could have been disposed of without adjournments, where the lawyers sitting in their chambers or wherever they are could argue and get the miscellaneous application disposed of. This is one of the issues which I would request Justice Menezes to address at it needs immediate attention. As a part of an aid to the digitization of courts, the association contemplates to make available iPads to its junior members at competitive rates. And in this regard, I would request Justice Menezes, again, if it could be of help through the instrumentality of the High Court. Whilst welcoming Justice Menezes for this function, and for having given us the honor and privilege of being with us, I also thank all the members of the bar who have been instrumental in getting us here to take up your issues as members of the managing committee. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for laying down the contours for today's discussion and introducing the topic. And moving on to the keynote speaker today, who needs no introduction. To go with his legal acumen, profound legal knowledge, eloquence, the one major quality which stands out in the context of today's topic, which I noticed in the brief interaction, is that he's quite passionate about technology. He's quite passionate about bringing in changes into the legal administration, into the system, whereby not just there is the efficiency is enhanced, as also the lawyers get a broad-based participation into the entire education and justice delivery systems. So without any further ado, may I request Honorable Justice Menezes to kindly address the gathering.
This is Shri.Valmiki, senior advocates and friends. Um, Let me commence by a caveat to what the president of the Bar Association said. I'm not here to lecture you or to you know, put forth just my views on the subject of infusing technology into our work atmosphere. I'm actually here before you to, as far as possible, interact with you, explain to you what are the changes, and perhaps uh, have an interactive session at the end of the chat to understand what are the issues that are running through your mind. Because as stakeholders, as the biggest stakeholders actually uh, in the system, it's important for all of us to exchange views and incorporate um, the views of the bar and the apprehensions thrown forward by the bar on how to proceed forward with the infusion of new technologies and new infrastructures that are already in the pipeline and which will be uh, implemented very shortly. Now, I have not come here with a plan. Uh, as Shivan said, this is work in progress. As of now, there is a broad plan, but I intend to just give you an overview of uh, what are the various components of the infusion of technology into the entire justice the system. The changes that we want to bring about are not just at the level of the High Court. Ultimately, a network, an IT network, or a network of digitization can't be at one point. It's a network. It covers the whole state of Goa. It is synergized with a larger network that covers the entire country and probably all over the world. But speaking for the network in Goa itself, the platform would consider every court, right from Hong Kong to Delhi. It's not a control from the High Court, but everyone works, all the stakeholders have to work together. So to give you a broad idea of how the system works, I don't know, have any of you ever visited the server room of this building? So I see a lot of nods in the negative. Perhaps you should visit the server room and understand where the nerve center of the entire network is based and where the entire data is stored and in that sense controlled. We have a main server in this building which is presently a 10 TV server. With the digitization of our entire filing data, that is the pending files, the old files, we would use up approximately, I think, how much is that? About 35 TB of data. So for that, obviously, we have to fit in a new server, which is on the way. These are all costly pieces of equipment. We are upgrading to a 75 TB server. Of that, we would use about 35 TB fairly immediately after we digitize the entire set of hard copies of all the files and all the data that we have. The balance obviously would be used over the next 5 to 10 years. So as we go along the way, obviously a server which is 10 years old will not serve the purpose. We'll have to upgrade, but the upgrades will happen from year to year also. Now, besides the main server, there are various other systems that we're going to bring into the high court to start with, and in all the trial courts. The first system that would come in immediately following the digitization would be an e-office package that would be uh, that would operate a paperless system where the files would move from desk to desk, or the files would move across courts, including notings on the files. Even administratively, all notings on the files would stop movement to hard copy form and would move from court to court or registry to registry in e-form. So, in other words, the administrators here would interface with the district court or any civil court in Goa, where administrative files would move up and down, notings would be put through the e-office platform. Now, an extension of that could be again involving the advocates associations, where correspondence, grievances, suggestions of various advocates associations at taluka level, at high court level, at district level, they could interface on the e-office system directly with the administration. This would not only bring transparency, but this would bring in quick decisions. Because I think what we lack basically in the system is by the time files move up and down, there are files that take sometimes 6 months to clear. Um, yes, I mean that's the reality of the situation with the system of moving hard copies. This would probably take a couple of days at the most, and decisions would have to be taken within time frames because the system requires that. Now, apart from this, as I said, the digitization has commenced. We have started in the High Court of digitization of the disposed files, some of the old files. Be aware of the fact that Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh High Court is the first High Court to be fully digitized. The aim is that by the 19th of this month, um, all matters which would come up on the board would be fully digitized by the 19th of this month. That's by the time the district court is inaugurated. That's the aim. If that happens, we would be the second state in the country to be fully digitized. Now, they're pushing it, but what this means basically is that you might have to stop passing hard copies across. Um, you might have to start arguing matters from your iPads, phones, uh, tabs, or whatever. I'm not saying it has to happen by the 19th, which is the reason why I'm here before you. But it will have to happen in the near future, which brings me to the demand raised by your president. I have had a talk with the committee of the association, but without being restrictive to the High Court. What we need to come up with is schemes which are inclusive. They can't be just for lawyers practicing in the High Court. There have to be schemes which are inclusive to the entire state of Goa. It is inevitable that at some point of time in the future the um, district courts will be fully digitized. The lawyers in the district courts and all the way down to the civil courts, Kanpon, Penne, Malkoi, all of them would be digitized, and the lawyers there would have to change their mindsets and at some point of time start using um, a digitized form of files, argue perhaps to VC, even to argue physically present in court, you may have to argue of a screen. I know this sounds frightening, which is the reason why I say we will have an interactive session immediately after I brief you on all the remaining topics. But I would expect that the members of the bar not just come up with questions, but also come up with well formulated ideas, schemes, perhaps nowadays banks, nowadays finance companies, the hardware companies themselves come up with really good schemes. And we can channelize, once we know about those schemes, perhaps we can channelize with the help of the um, High Court, with the help of the government, the executive, we can channelize these schemes into something which translates into affordable hardware to start. Um, Having said that, um, let me also brief you on some of the other systems which are already in vogue in the High Court. We will try and replicate them in the trial court. How many of you use Telegram as an app? So there are a few hands that go up. Are you aware that the board is on Telegram? That you can actually access the board, like we access our boards on the iPad. Are you aware that you can access the board on Telegram um, while you're in the court? So what I would suggest you do is those of you who don't have the app, download the app, and perhaps Anurag or Sultan here can help out. At some point in time, you can go down to the computer section and you can start using Telegram and see a board uh, on Telegram rather than use a hard copy. I think you can open it. So that's how it works. But you can go into more detail. Open on your phone on Telegram. I think most of you must be having Telegram app on your phone and use it for messaging. But you can use it for a lot more than messaging. So the idea is to understand that all these tools should be adequately used by you to make your life easier. That way you don't have to all the time carry your boards, mark your boards. You can do this all on Telegram itself. It will appear like that. And that's the board on Telegram. So now besides this, we have also cleared a scheme for upgrading the Wi-Fi in the High Court. I think we should have that probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But it would be Wi-Fi that all lawyers could use free and hook up onto the Wi-Fi of the High Court. we have worked out a complete plan for um, very large number of Wi-Fi points to which you could have access. So you would be basically wired at any part of the building. But we are replicating this in the district courts and in all the trial courts simultaneously. Because if this has to work, connectivity is of essence. And so simultaneously with the High Court, the district court and all the trial courts would have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi access for all the lawyers. Um, the hardware would go in and probably within a month once we have the funds released. It's a very large sum of money, but that is required because that would be the first step to actually make the upgrade in the system work. Now, let me just brief you broadly about the new district court building. Um, Most of you must be seeing the building from afar, but let me assure you, it's a really state-of-the-art building, not in terms of design only, but in terms of the systems that have gone into it. There are changes in the new Evidence Act. Electronic evidence is going to be a new way of actually leading evidence. A large part of evidence now will be electronic evidence. Um, I'm quite sure that most of you are not yet fully familiarized with the new manner in which you should lead electronic evidence. We'll have the plan is to have a few seminars in time, but the seminars will basically tell you about the manner in which you produce it. But what you have to be familiar also before you start appearing in that building is the manner in which the evidence would be put forth within that courtroom. Now, the questions like confronting a witness with a document. The witness is in a remote area, he's somewhere on VC. You are cross-examining, he's somewhere abroad, and by VC you cross-examine. The question is, how do you confront him with a document, the original of which is before the court? So we have systems in that court by which the document can be presented to the witness, and the witness would depose on that document, even though the document is before the court and the witness is far away. It is compliant with the new Evidence Act. There are other systems where the accused, where the witness is a child, um, has a separate area where the accused will be seated. The accused would not be seen, obviously. There's a one-way glass put there. The accused would be seen only on the screen. The witness would never see the accused but would depose based upon what the witness sees on the screen. So there are a lot of these systems which um, uh, use IT technologies, which lawyers will have to familiarize themselves with because unlike the children's court, unlike the POXO court as it presently operates, where everything is physical, all this will stop. And mind you, the judges are, as of today, one upon all of you. Amongst the judges, we have quite a few master trainers. They have undergone extensive training on not just use of these technologies, but extensive training in the use of iPads and how you could optimally use your iPads to change over to a completely digitized system. So our intention is basically to have a few seminars with master trainers coming in, and we'll work it out with the various lawyers associations, and we break them up in groups. Of course, the plan is also to break up lawyers into groups and familiarize the lawyers in the new district court of how the new systems work. Now, question of payments also. Presently, I think the payment system is the manner in which payments are made in the district court and the high court are very cumbersome. So we have created payment gateways that will be used in all the trial courts as well as in the high court. They are under trial right now, they're being tested. So very shortly you will no more have the system of put a stamp, put the stamp, take it down for punching, paid court fees, paper and all these things. All this will disappear. All payments will be through a payment gateway, either through a swipe card or in any other digitized manner. Um, you will have to get used to this new system, because I think it's essential that we have a system where we can simultaneously account. The issues that we are having are with the Nazir sections. Year on year, one of the issues is the the accounts have to be ultimately tallied. With a physical system, there is room for error. So the idea perhaps would be to bring in new tally packages, dedicated Nazirs who understand how accounting bookkeeping is done on a tally package. So digitized payment would sit straight away into the account. That way, nothing gets missed. You don't have to carry a receipt and show receipt as the proof of payment. It would come automatically on the system. Your certified copy would be issued. Of course, ultimately, the idea would be perhaps to issue a certified copy which is digitally signed. It could be issued online rather than a physical copy. So these are all the things that are in the pipeline. Now, there is another area. Um, we are already using this as a dictation software, but the area of use of artificial intelligence. I mean, as I speak, you can see the dictation happens automatically, but this is a somewhat rudimentary software. So the softwares have reached to a level where there are software designed which will be soon used in courts, which are specific to languages. So when a witness deposes, the deposition from his language is simultaneously translated to English. So you have a deposition recorded in, say, Marathi, simultaneously translated into English using AI, and this doesn't require the of documents. It sits in the server, and as the file moves up in appeal and moves up to the High Court, the entire digitized file with all the evidence and documents could move up in this fashion. Um, of course, AI, as we know, has its downside. We have to be careful. Um, Let me tell you that there's a lot of effort being put in by NIC and various other agencies to construct dedicated clouds so that the entire judicial system is isolated from an open system where anyone could have access. Um, there's work going on construction of large servers, um, as I understand at present in Madurai. But the applications of AI are just fascinating. I attended a seminar at the National Judicial Academy where it's amazing how AI can be used for reducing our pendency. At the moment, I mean, at present, we asked you all to group together files under the same topic, see if we can get together so many matters and decide a matter by going through each file. But with the use of AI itself would do that for us. And what is even more amazing is that it can change our entire approach to disposal of matters. When I say our approach, it's not the judiciary's approach, it's the approach of the entire system. Lawyers also could use it. Every matter has an impact. Impacts are divided basically into four areas. You have a national impact, so there are matters which are decided which will have a national impact. There are matters which the decision has an impact on an individual's life. There are those decisions which have an impact on commercial on commercial life. So AI can segregate these, and AI can create boards for judges where you can decide matters based upon impact. And it's very important to understand this because if we take a particular matter which is thrown up at us to say that this is the national impact, by deciding this one matter, sometimes it could end up in deciding 50,000 matters with one decision. So the use of AI can be actually put to working out the docket management as well. And this is something which will be coming, which will be used in the very near future. It's already uh, it's already designed. It's only being tested. So both the voice activated translation softwares, the docket management softwares, these are all going to be in place, and the entire look of a board now is going to change because the board is going to be managed in this fashion, where the impact of a matter would be weighed. Um, now, on a lighter note, before I go into the interactive session, um, I know you are led by a very dynamic president. In fact, last weekend, one at a seminar, some person addressed him as uh, Giselle Mano became Jose Josh. So I know with the Josh of your president, we would be able to take this forward. But my appeal to all of you is really, we are planning to create a dedicated email ID, is to put up your queries, send in your suggestions, interact with our IT department. And this is another breaking news. So we are going to have a new IT department, and we're going to recruit 16 staff. It's a dedicated department where you have everything from programmers to software designers, people who manage the entire IT system of the high court. But please interact with them because it's the ideas that we want to try and better the system. So if I could um, keep it open to all of you to perhaps vent your apprehensions, any questions. If there are answers that I can't give, um, we will address them at some point of time. But we are taking note of these.
Well, the floor is open to questions. Honorable Justice Menezes is very clear. Let's make this
It's not
constructive.
just questions. You're free to.
You sit there. So
No, no,
no, why?
I'm fine.
The objections which are raised today, key findings are the same which were raised with the findings, for example, margins. So margins are not proper, patient is not very important. All those same objections are raised for you findings. We are still facing the same problem.
Um, I can't answer that question in that sense, but is it that the margins are not required for it? Because ultimately the entire file, as I understand, presently you bookmark the file, right?
Correct.
So that when we move to version 4, which is happening right now, is being tested, the whole idea is the digitization team would, you may not have to bookmark it anymore. So once you upload the e-file, they have a software which will recognize a plain, a written statement, all these things, and it will automatically bookmark. But I'm sure they could be formatting none of that file also to, so that margins would set at present. But once we have that, it would happen. That's a possibility. But that's a good question. Let me look into it. But having spoken with the digitization team, the bookmarking now would be after we move to version 4, would happen from the uh, office side itself. But you soon, there will be SOP issue, so you know how to do the new e-filing. So we'll have a small session on that as well once we move fully to version 4 as to how you'll have to e-file after that.
There's a question I wanted to ask. Now there was version 2.0, now version 2.0 and version 3.0. Now there's a huge difference between the two.
And now it's version 4, so it's going to be even a bigger
Yes,
difference.
it's going to be an even bigger difference. Now the 11th they're going to have interactive session on version 3.0. We're going to again have another interactive session on 4.0, which itself would be another big difference between these.
So and this is what I said about the mindset. Earlier, change used to come after 10 years. Uh, Change with this digitization is probably going to come every 2 years or even earlier. Don't you like to download a new app when it's thrown at you? Don't you like to try out something new on your phone?
I agree a lot, but what happens now is that 2024, 3.0 came out. Now 4.0 is going to come out this year itself.
You want me to come out next year?
I'm just asking. I'm asking in case 4.0
No, I hear you loud and clear, but that's how it might be because when we have something new which is more efficient, we are not going to sell it at a very high premium like the phone companies do and say you take the new model at this premium. We want to put it out immediately to make things easier, right? Like I said, you might not have to bookmark anymore. Isn't that better? Bookmarking is an issue, isn't it?
It is an issue.
Yeah.
Also,
So we are addressing these issues by bringing new versions.
but that would again be an entirely different interface than 3.0
Uh,
to an extent.
yes, to an extent, but you get used to the changes. Believe me, you start getting used to a change every year.
Also there's another thing is that many profiles after the shift from 2.0 to 3.0, when you're trying to file, it does not have a drop-box for the High Court of Bombay and Goa. You get a drop-box only for appellate side of Bombay, or you get a drop-box for appellate side of Bombay original side. You're not getting a drop-box for High Court of Bombay and Goa. That also is another issue that has been faced by several people.
By default, it goes to High Court of Bombay, and then you probably do a profile for High Court of Bombay, and then you take that.
Currently, that happens by default. It goes to the profile of High Court of Bombay. But it's work in progress. It will be addressed. It will be addressed. There are many issues. I know that the judgments from Goa were not getting uploaded on the Bombay High Court. Justice Deshpande just pointed out the other day, Goa judgments on the Bombay High Court website don't open directly. You have to download them every time. So these are issues which will be there, which have to be sorted. It's not. It's not.
There are still a lot of bugs and flaws in
Of course. Which is why there is a team constantly testing these new systems. It is bound to happen, and that's where your suggestions come in. Now that you've said all these things, they're taking down notes about all these things, and if you would like, you can go and meet Pandran or Sultan in the IT department.
I met
Yes, and give your suggestions. If you have, see, we can't discount the fact that many of you are very tech savvy and you can contribute to betterment of the system. Why should you not contribute? So they're open for that. So please go down and address these issues directly there.
Also, another suggestion that I can give is that when you are filing a reply or something on a case and e-filing, if it can be notified to the lawyer who's under the plaintiff or the petitioner.
That would happen shortly. In fact, the idea is at some point of time, when we file, at the moment it's only the judge who can use liquid text, do all the markings and all that. At some point of time, hopefully, we would all be literally on the same page. You could do markings on your screen, and I would see them. You could say page so and so and mark with your stylus on the screen, and I would see it. Like remote. So that is possible, but it will take a little time, but we'll get there. We'll get there. These are good suggestions. Pandon has taken all these suggestions down. And if you have more, please make the suggestions.
Thank you.
So, yes, if effectively implemented, do you think it can almost eradicate the need to physically visit the registry? For example, even certain aspects such as applications for certified copies, which is
None of us like to go to the registry ever. I can see your need.
but for instance, certain aspects such as applications for certified copy, if I am not mistaken, they are not covered presently under the body.
Yes. So you're right. But what if I told you somewhere down the line, you could apply for a certified copy online, and you could get a digitally signed certified copy in your office online without going to the. It's possible now, even today. What if I told you that we would hopefully have rules in place where you could your client sitting in the US could actually swear an affidavit with a digital signature and file it directly in the court. It's acceptable. So that's you don't have to go to the registry if that's what you want. But many people might choose to do that. So
So it would provide for an option, a hybrid.
in time, yes. In time, yes. The idea is not to go to the office. That's the whole idea of e-filing, isn't it? The idea is not to interface with the office at all. Just do it online.
Just one. Earlier we used to have this display board app, which is recently now. So I think that is
That's
something
that's that's being looked into already.
quite simple.
Yes,
It could be done.
that's being looked into already.
Also, it's like
And we understand there's a problem also. Goa website doesn't give it. You have to go through the Bombay. We are addressing that already.
filing for different courts have different websites. So all of these. Supreme Court has its own filing, High Court, every different, all High Courts have their own system. And there is, when somebody has optimized it, say Supreme Court or High Court of Delhi, they seem to have they're slightly better. So why can't all the courts in India, all the tribunals, PRT, NGT have the same system? Because you have different options, different ways to upload.
So that's the ultimate aim. That's the ultimate goal. That's why I said a central server, a cloud that would actually hold all this data. But to construct that, that's the problem because again, question is safety of all this data. It's being worked on, and like I said, I understand from what interactions I've had, there's supposed to be a central server now in Madurai, the backup in Delhi. But this is all work in progress. It should ultimately happen. It should ultimately happen. But it has to be safe.
Also, I don't think our websites as of now have developed Boolean search ability.
As
Boolean, when you
Huh.
have when you use and,
Yeah.
or those operators which can help you specify, define your search when you're looking for elements. I think earlier there was a
You're
keyword
talking of the
search.
High Court's website.
High Court website. Usually you find it on
It,
SSC online.
it can be refined. It can be refined.
That is also not there on ESCR also.
It can be
Something that
refined.
could be done.
I'm looking forward to you working on the screen.
About 75% of the expressions that were used are Greek and Latin to me. Is this the right time to retire?
No, certainly not. Certainly not. Um, that is something that will be addressed. So since Mr. Lotika has brought this up, the Kerala High Court is working on dashboards. Again, to use a word, I won't use the word, but basically a dashboard is a screen where you can do everything on that screen that's fixed. Instead of a podium, we use a dashboard. So So we call it a dashboard, like a car dashboard. But that's where the younger members of the bar must extend the support to the senior members. There is a fear. There's bound to be a fear. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. It's so huge what's coming. So we must address the fear. We can't run away from it, and we have to address it, especially the senior members of the bar. So we just give you this is in a lighter way. So when I went to Nagpur, um, I was warned by one of my bench partners, very senior judge. Um, don't bring your iPad on the base. I was warned by some of the other judges that I should not ask uncomfortable questions to the registry as to what level of digitization has been achieved, why my board is in a hard copy form and why not on my iPad. So um, this is what I faced when I first went there. But there was a, the famous Sai Baba appeal, the criminal appeal that came up. We heard that matter for almost 2.5 months, or almost on a daily basis. The lawyers appeared from Delhi, Bombay, some came physically to Nagpur. They were all over the place. And the file was something like over 2,000 pages. There was a lot of electronic evidence. The whole case actually turned on electronic evidence. And how do you deal with all this? So that's when I saw the opportunity of converting that code to a sort of semi um, IT compliant code. I brought in the screens immediately. I brought in and it was amazing how the very same person who said don't bring a screen in was oh my god, we can do this matter so fast. We don't have to adjourn matters because lawyers don't have to be physically present. We can play videos. We can see the electronic evidence. Um, what's a hash value? How do you read a 65p certificate? So it's matters like that that push the use of technology to their limit, and you realize that you have to use the technology. So it's just a fear that we build within ourselves. But it sounds simplistic, I know, to address what Mr. Rotikar said, but this was my experience, and there were a lot of people who transformed their thought thinking. I saw that, and I'm sure it will happen here. There's no fear about it. As long as we do it together, we work together.
Any more questions?
Anyway, thanks, and on behalf of the High Court and my colleagues, Justice Deshpande, Justice Kalvik, and the IT committee, we have many familiar faces on that committee in the Bombay High Court. Justice Kiffer is there, Justice Kulkarni is there, Justice Kulod was my colleague in Nagpur. Um, we are looking forward to a transformation, and this is possible only we all go, uh, some hand holding, and we all move together. There's no one who should be left behind, but I'm sure we can do this. Thanks.
A big thank you to Honorable Justice Menezes. I think it was insightful, thought-provoking, in more ways than one, riveting and fascinating for all of us. And if at all I have to crystallize what are the takeaways from the very insightful delivery by Justice Menezes, I would just say one, we have a grand vision which is revolutionary in more ways than one. Um, and we should be all proud of the vision that is presently placed before us, and we should do all that we can to see that the vision is implemented in the way that it is intended. The second takeaway is that some of us have to get our act together, pull up our socks, and including senior advocate Mrs. Loki, because it almost felt like he was sounding a warning. And the third and most important is that we have the right man at the helm of the affairs when it comes to the technical committee of the Goa High Court. And we should be in a position to be a model state. I'm sure that's the endeavor. Some of the, I thought some of the aspects were groundbreaking, and I was quite awestruck. And as long as we lawyers stay relevant, we cannot have any objection to any sort of technology. And if that was rudimentary, I'm not sure what is advanced AI. So it is very fascinating for all of us. It was an eye opener for all of us. And I would request Advocate Nikhil Pai to deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Judges of the High Court, Mr. Justice Deshpande, Mr. Justice Menezes, distinguished members of our Bar Association, ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense gratitude that I stand before you to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, we express our heartfelt appreciation to Honorable Judges of the High Court for gracing us with their esteemed presence. We thank His Lordship, Mr. Justice Valmiki Menezes, for enlightening us on a very important topic, which is the new frontier in the world of dispensation of justice. We also extend our sincere gratitude to the respected members of the Bar Association for joining us today. Thank you for your active participation and for enriching this event with your valuable insights and knowledge. To the organizers of this event, we convey our sincere appreciation for their hard work and meticulous planning. Your efforts have ensured the success of this occasion. We look forward to many more such collaborations in the future. Thank you all. May you all have a good day. Thank you.